Explaining and inducing savant skills, privileged access to lower-level, less processed information. Alan Snyder. Published, 27 May 2009 https://doi.org, 10.1098, rstb.2008.0290. Abstract. I argue that savant skills are latent in us all. My hypothesis is that savants have privileged access to lower-level, less processed information before it is packaged into holistic concepts and meaningful labels. Owing to a failure in top-down inhibition, they can tap into information that exists in all of our brains, but is normally beyond conscious awareness. This suggests why savant skills might arise spontaneously in otherwise normal people, and why such skills might be artificially induced by low-frequency repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation. It also suggests why autistic savants are atypically literal with a tendency to concentrate more on the parts than on the whole, and why this offers advantages for particular classes of problem-solving, such as those that necessitate breaking cognitive mindsets. A strategy of building from the parts to the whole could form the basis for the so-called autistic genius. Unlike the healthy mind, which has inbuilt expectations of the world, internal order, the autistic mind must simplify the world by adopting strict routines, external order. 1. Introduction. My intention here is to propose an explanation for savant skills and to explore the possibility of artificially inducing such skills in healthy, normal individuals. This gives insights into the architecture of the healthy mind, especially why certain abilities are deliberately inhibited from conscious awareness. I suggest that the savant condition occurs as a failure of this top-down inhibition process. To set the stage, I argue in Section 2 that savant skills are latent in us all. The savant syndrome is a rare condition in which persons with autistic disorder or other mental disabilities have extraordinary skills that stand in stark contrast to their overall handicap. Savant skills are typically confined to 5 areas: art, music, calendar calculating, mathematics, and mechanical, the spatial skills, Treffert, 2005. These skills are accompanied by an exceptional ability to recall meaningless detail, memory without understanding, Sachs, 2007, and a high incidence of absolute pitch, AP, and synesthesia. Snyder and Mitchell, 1999, argued that all savant skills, including AP and synesthesia, reside within everyone, but that they are not normally accessible to conscious awareness. Owing to some atypical brain function, savants have privileged access to raw, less processed information in some interim state before it is packaged into holistic labels. This privileged access facilitates a distinct literal cognitive style, in which a person thinks in detail, working from the parts to the whole, de Klerk, 2003. Savant skills are a form of reproduction. Savants access or read off something that exists in all of our brains, but is normally inaccessible through introspection, Snyder and Mitchell, 1999. The precise neuroanatomical mechanism for gaining this privileged access is not yet resolved. It may be associated with an atypical hemispheric imbalance wherein concept networks are bypassed or inhibited. Accordingly, it was predicted, Snyder, in Carter 1999, and subsequently shown, Snyder et al. 2003, 2006, Young et al. 2004, Gall-Late et al. 2009, that savant-like skills can sometimes be artificially induced in normal healthy individuals by inhibiting part of the brain, the left anterior temporal lobe, LATL. This is consistent with the notion that autistic savants have some atypical left brain dysfunction, or inhibition together with right brain compensation, Miller et al. 1998, Treffert 2005, Sachs 2007. In addition, this explanation would appear to fit with contemporary views on hemispheric competition, and how disinhibiting the non-dominant hemisphere can artificially offset such competition, Hilger Taggart et al. 2001. It possibly also explains the right hemispheric bias sometimes associated with autism and other pathologies, Section 4. Below. In other words, everyone has the raw information for savant skills, but it requires a form of cortical disinhibition, or atypical hemispheric imbalance to be accessed. As I discuss below, there are various factors that could facilitate this disinhibition. Apart from attempting to demonstrate that savant skills exist in everyone, there is an additional reason for attempting to artificially induce the savant-like state. Savant skills are normally not creative, being largely imitative. Nonetheless, by being atypically literal, with a tendency to concentrate more on the parts than on the whole, a person sees the world in a less biased light. Such a cognitive strategy offers advantages for particular classes of problem solving, such as those that necessitate breaking cognitive illusions. A strategy of building from the parts to the whole could form the basis for the so-called autistic genius, Snyder 2004, and provide hints for avenues to artificially enhance creativity, as has been discussed elsewhere, Snyder et al. 2004. 2. Savant skills latent in everyone. We have argued that savants have privileged access to lower-level, less processed information before it is packaged into holistic concepts and labels. Savants tap into, or read off information that exists in all of our brains, but this information is normally beyond conscious awareness owing to top-down inhibition. Snyder and Mitchell 1999, Snyder et al. 2004. This is supported by powerful arguments. Those who have protracted experience with savants say that their gift springs, so to speak, from the ground, unbidden, apparently untrained, and at the age of somewhere between 5 and 8 years of age. There is often no family history of the talent, and it is apparently not improved by practice. The Connor 1989, page 4. The core ability behind the skill emerges spontaneously, and does not improve qualitatively with time, even though it might become better articulated. O'Connor 1989. In addition, the talents are largely imitative. If these skills are not latent, it would appear highly coincidental that such a peculiar subset of abilities should be so compelling to a significant fraction of savants across all cultures, and also that many of these same savants simultaneously have several savant skills. Rimland and Fain 1988, each of which are similarly peculiar and restricted. Furthermore, autistic savant skills are known to recede or be lost altogether with maturity. Self 1977, Barnes, and Earnshaw 1995, Treffert 2006. Savants cannot normally give insights into how they perform their skill and are uncontaminated by learnt algorithms. It just comes to them. They just see it. With maturity, the occasionally offered insights are suspect, possibly being contaminated by the acquisition of concepts concerning the particular skill. Yet, I have labeled one savant, Daniel Tammet, a Rosetta Stone, Johnson 2005. By far, the most compelling argument for savant skills residing equally within everyone is that they can emerge suddenly and spontaneously. Miller et al. 2000, page 86, in individuals who had no prior history for them, either in interest, ability or talent. Treffert 2006. Sachs 2007, pp 157 and 313. Striking examples include skills in art, music, Sachs 2007, mathematics, Treffert 2006, page 85, calendar calculating, Lafay 1987, Osborne 2003, and possibly AP, Azator 1989. See page 573. The same appears to hold for synesthesia, Sachs 2007, page 180, as theory suggested. Snyder and Mitchell 1999, which is reported frequently by autistic savants, Heaton et al. 1998. Sachs 2007, Tammet 2007, 2009. Furthermore, these acquired savant skills have been known to diminish with recovery from illness, Sachs 2007, page 315. Acquired savants arise from a variety of causes, Treffert 2006, including left frontotemporal dementia, Miller et al. 1998. Physical injury to the left temporal lobe, Lafay 1987, J. Hirsch and A. Snyder 2005, personal communication, left hemispheric strokes, Sachs 2007, page 315, severe illness to the central nervous system, Treffert 2006, and even when under the influence of hallucinogens, Humphrey 2002, Sachs 2007, page 181. 3. Inducing savant skills artificially. Taken together, the above facts argue persuasively that savant skills reside within us all, and that they can be rapidly switched on and off by natural causes. But, can they be induced temporarily by artificial means? Although we do not normally have access to lower levels of information as do savants, is there nonetheless some artificial means to promote this access? Snyder and Mitchell 1999, say, by inhibiting part of the brain with magnetic pulses to inhibit top-down inhibition. See Snyder's suggestion in Carter, 1999. There are now several accounts of artificially induced savant-like skills, in drawing, proofreading, numerosity, and false memory reduction, all by inhibiting the LATL with repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, RTMS. Snyder et al. 2003, 2006, Young et al. 2004, Gall-Late et al. 2009. Low-frequency RTMS temporarily inhibits neural activity in a localized area of the cerebral cortex, thereby creating virtual lesions. Hilger Tag et al. 1999, Walsh and Cowie 2000, Hoffman and Cavus 2002, Stephen and Pasquale 2006. As discussed below in Section 4, the LATL is implicated in the savant syndrome for both autistic savants as well as savants who emerge late in life as a result of frontotemporal lobe dementia. Miller et al. 1998, 2000, Hu et al. 2000. A. Induced drawing skills. We cannot draw naturalistic scenes unless we are taught tricks. Gombrich 1960. This is surprising because our brains obviously possess all of the necessary visual information required to draw, but we are apparently unable to consciously access it for the purpose of drawing. Snyder and Thomas 1997, Snyder and Mitchell 1999. Unlike artistic savants, Self 1977, Wiltshire 1987, Miller et al. 1998, we tend to be more aware of the meaningful whole than its constituent parts. Snyder et al. 2003, directed low-frequency RTMS for 15 minutes over the LATL of 11, right-hand, healthy participants. The participants were given 1 minute to draw a dog, horse or face from memory, before, during, immediately after and 45 minutes after RTMS treatment. Magnetic stimulation caused a major change in the schema of the drawings of 4 out of 11 participants. 2 of these also underwent sham, inactive, stimulation either the week before or after the real test. The changes in drawing style were observed only following active stimulation, and not after sham stimulation. In some cases, the drawings returned to normal 45 minutes after RTMS ceased. Young et al. 2004 also reported RTMS-enhanced drawing skills. Several participants reported greater awareness of detail in their surrounds after active RTMS. One participant published his experience, stating that he could hardly recognize the drawings as his own even though he had watched himself render each image. Osborne 2003, page 38. B. Induced proofreading skills. It is easy to miss errors of writing in a familiar passage. Presumably, our propensity to impose meaning inhibits our awareness for the details that comprise the meaning. Bartlett 1932. So, in an attempt to artificially induce autistic-like literalness, Snyder et al. 2003 had the above 11 participants undergo a test for proofreading following the same RTMS protocol. Without RTMS, participants almost always missed a duplicated word, such as the in familiar proverbs, even after multiple exposures. 2 participants displayed a noticeable improvement in their ability to recognize duplicated words in text following stimulation. They did comparatively well during or immediately after stimulation, and comparatively poorly both before and 45 minutes after. Importantly, these 2 participants also displayed pronounced style changes in their drawings during and after real stimulation, but not after placebo stimulation. None of the participants improved at proofreading with placebo stimulation. In conclusion, low-frequency RTMS of the left frontotemporal lobe caused major changes in the schema of drawings for 4 out of 11 participants, 2 of whom significantly improved at proofreading. C. Induced numerosity. It is not possible to accurately estimate a large number of objects without counting them successively. A small number, 3 or 4, can be accessed. Jevons 1871. Yet, there have been reports over time about the ability of autistic savants to accurately guess large numbers of objects. Scripture 1891. Sachs 1986. Treffert 2006. For instance, Sachs, 1986, observed autistic twins who instantly guessed the exact number of matchsticks that had just fallen on the floor, saying in unison 111. Such reports motivated Snyder et al. 2006 to induce savant-like numerosity abilities in 12 right-hand participants. Low-frequency RTMS was applied to the LATL for 15 minutes. Snyder et al. 2006. Participants were presented with between 50 and 150 discrete elements on a monitor with RTMS and sham stimulation. Each session involved 60 trials, that is 20 opportunities to guess the number of elements before, immediately after and 1 hour after RTMS. The exposure time was 1.5 s, too short for anyone to count the number of elements, but sufficiently long to resemble exposure times in real-life situations. Figure 1. Figure 1 TMS setup for the numerosity experiment. Download figure. Open in new tab. Download PowerPoint. Out of 12 participants, 10 improved their ability to accurately guess the number of discrete elements immediately following magnetic pulse stimulation. Out of these 10 participants, 8 became worse 1 hour later, as the effects of the magnetic pulses receded. None of those 8 participants exhibited that pattern during the sham session. The probability of as many as 8 out of 12 people doing the best just after RTMS, and not just after the sham, by chance alone, is less than 1 in 1,000, p equals 0.001, figure 2. Figure 2 mean ability across all participants to make guesses within the bullseye criterion of 5 with A, TMS, and B, sham. Shows numerosity performance before, pre, immediately after, post, and 1 hour after RTMS. Error bars represent 95% confidence intervals, and 99% of estimates were multiples of 5, from Snyder et al. 2004. Download figure. Open in new tab. Download PowerPoint. Why does becoming more literal enhance numerosity? We argue that the estimation of number by normal people is performed on information after it has been processed into meaningful patterns. The meaning we unconsciously assign to these patterns interferes with our accuracy of estimation, whereas savants, by virtue of being literal, have less interference. This is consistent with the fact that the accuracy of estimating numbers of elements depends on their arrangement. Ginsberg 1976, 1991, Deheen 1997, perceived numerosity depends more on higher-level cognitive factors than on lower-level perceptual or sensory factors. Kruger 1984, page 540. This insight has an important generalization. The healthy brain makes hypotheses in order to extract meaning from the sensory input. Hypotheses derived from prior experience, Gregory 1970, 2004, Snyder and Bullough 1988, Snyder et al. 2004. So judgments in general are likely to be performed on this hypothesized content, not on the actual raw sensory input. This suggests the possibility of artificially reducing certain types of false memories and prejudice by making a person more literal, as well as enhancing creativity. Snyder et al. 2004. D. Reducing false memories. It is well known that our memories are not literal representations of the past. Instead, facts are unconsciously constructed to fit our schemata. Loftus 2003, Schachter, and Addis 2007. Yet, certain pathologies, including autism and anterior temporal lobe, ATL, dementia, Beversdorf et al. 2000, Simons et al. 2005, Hillier et al. 2007, can lead to literal recall and thus greater resistance to false memories. This inspired Gall-Late et al. 2009 to reduce false memories by temporarily inhibiting the LATL in 14 normal participants, using low-frequency magnetic pulse stimulation. The false memory paradigm of Roediger and McDermott, 1995, was adopted, with stimulation applied between the study and test phases of the task. After stimulation, participants had 36% fewer false memories and intact veridical memory, a result that is comparable with the improvement that people with autism and semantic dementia show over normal individuals. 4. The role of the left anterior temporal lobe in the savant syndrome. Why did we apply RTMS to the LATL? The savant syndrome is often associated with some form of left brain dysfunction together with right brain compensation, leading to a predilection for literal, non-symbolic skills. Sachs 2007, pp 314-315, Treffert 2005, 2006. This is consistent with the role of the left hemisphere in hypothesis formation. The left, but not the right, hemisphere tends to